So here's how I bought my first fourplex, nothing down. And this was in Denver, Colorado, a freaking lifetime ago. What I did was I started with a mailer. I mailed people that had owned at least 20 years. That's a really important piece. Just mailed and said, hey, I'm interested in buying your place. And I targeted people in the, I don't know, whatever it was, multifamily up to 10 units. Okay, so 2 to 10 units. And these people with a fourplex called me. They were elderly. When you mail 20 people that have owned 20 plus years, they're likely elderly. So they've owned the place a long time. And if they're elderly, they're not going to take that money from that high risk investment that they have and reinvest it in another high risk investment. You know, they're risk averse. So they're going to put the money into the bank and live on the cash flow. And I asked them, and that's what they said they were going to do. And I said, well, if you sell it outright and I pay whatever it was, 150 grand or 100, I don't even remember what it was anymore, but it wasn't that much back then. But I said, you know, Uncle Sam's going to take 30, 40%, or at least 30%. You know, you take that amount, whatever it was at the time, 70,000, you put it in the bank, and here's what your payment will be based on today's interest. I said, well, here's an alternative for you. If you finance me with it, I'll pay you a higher interest rate, which I offered, and you're only going to pay taxes on the amount you get from me every year. So your payment for me is, you know, 2 or 3 times what you'll get from the bank. And I don't remember what it was then, but it was definitely a lot more than they would have made at the bank. And so it made sense. It made financial sense. And that's because they're only paying taxes, like I say, on the amount that they get from me every year. It's a whole lot less tax burden, and they cash flow better. The other piece was I bonded with them, and that's super important. When you're dealing with elderly sellers, seller bonding is huge. An elderly seller is relationship driven. You want to build that relationship, okay? And so I bonded with them, and they just wanted the payments. And I told them, hey, I want to put some money into this thing and fix it up. And so I didn't even have to pay anything down. They didn't charge me anything down, and that's how I did it. And it worked, and I got that place. That's a great strategy. If you target people that have owned 20 plus years and you don't have that conversation, you're doing them a disservice, okay? Because it's a better deal for them, an elderly seller. If they're not going to take that money and buy something with it, they're just going to live on the cash flow. For God's sakes, have that conversation, because it's a win-win all the way down the pike. I hope that helps.